Hey folks, this is Gabe at Security.org, and new coins are dropping weekly. The crypto market is growing exponentially, and you might be wondering, how do I determine if a coin is safe? Well, fortunately, we're gonna talk about that today here at Security.org. Now remember, if you wanna see a full comprehensive written guide to everything that we're gonna talk about today, that can be updated a lot faster than I can actually make these videos, go on over to Security.org where we have a full article on how to determine if a crypto coin is safe. Now, of course, never take anything I'm saying today as legal advice, nor should I be considered the gospel in this case. I feel like I'm learning with everyone else as this is constantly changing. We're all trying to get our heads around this crypto universe. So please take what I'm saying and add to it below in the comments. Would love to hear from you. And before we jump in, I do want to state that when I say safe coin, I simply mean not fake, not fraudulent. I don't know what coins are going to ultimately end up being worth any money because I don't have a crystal ball. Today, I want to identify 5 steps that you can take to determine if a crypto coin is safe. So do these 5 things, you'll probably be in a better position to invest in a token or not. Number 1, join the project's community and see how developers are responding to questions. Typically, with the safe and legitimate project, developers will take time to respond to not only questions, but criticisms, explaining why they're going about making the project the way it is. So if you see little or no community, you may be a bit concerned about how they're going about making that project and if it's actually real. For these types of projects, Discord, Telegram are great places to kind of just dive into understanding the concerns of any particular community and the developer's response to it. Number 2, take a good look, a close look at the coin's marketing campaign. In order for a coin's value to rise over time, it needs to actually be attractive to investors. Now, a viable project, a sustainable project will have a Twitter page that's constantly posting announcements, maybe a blog, just a host of different spaces where you can see what's going on in terms of updates and just what's happening with the project as it's built. Additionally, if a coin is safe, you'll see other social media channels, specifically crypto-oriented typically, that will be talking about this project. Now, you may run into some issues if you find that none of the other crypto people are talking about a particular project. If it seems like it's being, fronted just by some, third-rate influencer, someone like me or something. I'm just kidding. If you see that, then you might be saying, well, no one else is really talking about this project. Finally, you'll note that with a legitimate project, the marketing will actually talk about how it functions. They won't be talking about the end result solely or this, that, and the other. They'll be talking about, hey, we want you to be educated on how this works because we all benefit from an educated community. And if you don't see that, that's a bit of a red flag. The number 3 element for determining if a coin is safe is reviewing the documents. As a lawyer, this kind of comes second nature to me, but you want to make sure you're reading maybe the white paper, all the documentation, the guides, everything that they're putting together around the product you want to know, because if that documentation doesn't exist, to me, that is a bit risky. They should be telling you everything about the risks, what you're doing, how you're investing, what's going to happen. All those pieces should be in the documentation. So review the documents carefully in order to determine if a crypto coin is safe. Oh, you thought it was over when I talked about reviewing documents? The number 4 thing I want you to do is look at the contracts. Now, I've spent, what seems like a lifetime reviewing contracts. It's super fun and it's due diligence. It's what we have to do to put food on the table a lot of the time, but you should be doing it to make sure that you have determined whether or not a coin is safe. So what do I mean specifically when I say look at the contracts? Because, it's not about clauses and, releases and things of that nature. In this instance, it's about verification and human readable code. Now, if the coin you're considering is a token or a DeFi project, it will have smart contracts running on the blockchain. In order to ensure that that coin is safe, you're going to look at the code in the contracts. First thing you have to do in order to do that, of course, is find the contracts themselves, and those can be found on a Block Explorer. Now, once you arrive here on the Block Explorer homepage, you should be able to put in the contract address so you can find the actual contract itself. And here, you're going to want to first make sure that the contract is verified. And you're like, oh, well, what does that mean? Well, typically an unverified contract is not readable basically by humans. So if a developer hasn't verified a contract, you won't be able to read it and you might want to take a step back. Now, of course, if a contract isn't verified, that does not mean it's a scam. And that's not the point here. But it's nice to have. And usually if you're in a project community, you can just ask the developer, hey, man, you forgot to make this easy for me to read. I'm just a human, bro. I know you're different, but maybe help a brother out, do something like that. And if they don't respond well to that, then you might wonder, well, why haven't they made it easy for us to understand what's happening here? The final step I want to talk about today regarding how to determine if a coin is safe is auditing the contracts, or at least reading someone else's audit of the contract. All smart contracts should have public code available on the Block Explorer page. But unless you know how to read Solidity, something I don't know how to do, at least not yet, you might not know what you're looking for. So let's give you a few tips on auditing. And to be clear, I do have a friend that reads Solidity, and that's kind of my guy for this kind of stuff. So maybe find you a guy or girl that can do that. For one, you can use RugDoc. RugDoc is a website that basically specializes in auditing smart contracts, and they will basically rank how safe they find whatever you've given them to look at. RugDoc will rank projects as not eligible, low risk, medium risk, high risk, things like that. And you can kind of use these ratings to give yourself a feel of how likely you think the project is to be a scam or hackable, something like that. Now, what's cool is if you click on like a high risk project, you can see things basically put into human readable, text that says things like the owner can pump and dump this, or, the tokens can be renounced. So you might think you have something and then all of a sudden you don't. So it's good to kind of dive into the more detailed elements that RugDoc will provide. You can also read the audit report. Now, good developers who really believe in a project, want it to be accessible, they want to have an educated consumer base or whatever, or community, they are going to maybe even hire someone to audit their project for them. And you can just go and read that audit, because then you're like, oh, they've made sure that all of this stuff is really clear to us. So that's a really good way to get an idea of the, sustainability, the viability, if you will, of a particular project, token, coin, anything of that nature. All right, so that's my look at the 5 steps to help determine if a coin is safe. Now, of course, we have more when it comes to avoiding crypto scams. Be sure to check out our video on the 9 pitfalls of crypto investment. And if you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe to our channel, Security.org. Maybe give us a like, drop us a comment, just, some typical interaction that you would do with anyone else on the internet, trying to work and grow and develop. So my name is Gabe. This is Security.org. Be secure.